Well, the fall season has just begun, but it's already time to start thinking about winter. Today on Community Connections, winter and respiratory illness, home safety, and home health. We'll start with health risk and what we can do to minimize their impact. Dr. Alpin Patel, an ear, nose, and throat specialist with LifeBridge Health, and Dr. Jonathan Thierman, president of Express Care Urgent Care, joins us to tell us more. How are you, gentlemen?
Very well,
thanks.
thank you.
So, Dr. Patel, let's start with you. What are some common respiratory illnesses that you see this time of year?
Sure, in the fall and the winter, the most common respiratory illnesses are caused by viruses. And the most common ones are the common cold,
Right.
oftentimes caused by rhinovirus or adenovirus, respiratory syncytial virus known as RSV. Adults and kids can be affected with that. COVID, we've learned that in the last 5 years.
Right.
And of course, the flu.
Right. So, what are some of the differences, telltale signs, if someone that suffers from allergies like myself going into these months? What are some of the differences to know that you may have one of
Yeah,
them?
so some of the key differences, even in the fall and winter, where patients can still suffer from allergies, is the type of mucus that you produce, right? In patients who have allergies, it's usually clear and thin, like water from a faucet. But if you have a lingering cold, it's oftentimes going to be thick, colored, and sometimes bad smelling or bad tasting. In addition, with allergies, you can have eye symptoms like itchy, watery eyes. You don't see that very often with a lingering cold.
Right.
And then last but not least, with a cold, especially one that's been around for a week or two, you can also have body aches, fevers, and chills. You don't see that with allergy sufferers.
Right. And before COVID, simple cough or shortness of breath wasn't really a big deal. But now, knowing what we know, what are some of the signs that something bigger may be going on with that cough?
Yeah, so if you have a cough or even shortness of breath associated with chest pain, chest tightness, wheezing, bloody mucus that you're coughing up, high fevers, maybe even some confusion or lightheadedness because you're not getting enough oxygen to your brain, or even bluish tinged lips or skin, again suggesting you're not getting enough oxygen to different parts of your body, probably should seek medical attention.
Dr. Thierman, let me get your diagnosis, if you will. Cold, flu, and COVID, all similar symptoms, but how do you distinguish those?
It's a good question. They're very similar in terms of how they present. And so even though there are some subtle differences, they overlap quite a bit. You can have fevers, cough, upper respiratory secretions. And really the best way to differentiate them is to get a test. And so we have rapid tests that will tell you on the spot if it's COVID or the flu or RSV.
And with those symptoms, how soon should someone go out and get these tests?
Generally speaking, the sooner the better, and that's mostly because the few treatments that we do have, such as Tamiflu for the flu, are most effective in the short window after the symptoms start. If you wait several days, the medications become less effective. So you might go out and figure out what you have, and it's good for making sure that your family and friends don't catch that. If it's something like RSV and you want to stay away from elderly people or infants, but you can't treat things as effectively if you wait too long.
And with that, preventing your family from catching it, what are some of the ways to do that?
Generally speaking, washing your hands is always the best way to prevent the spread of germs. They are respiratory spread, so we've learned through COVID that masking helps decrease the spread that way. That's a tough thing to do, but even just washing your hands and not touching your face or other people's faces is the best way to prevent the spread of the germs.
Now, myself personally, I don't like needles, so once I left the Army, I didn't get shots, right? But how important is the flu vaccine every year?
It's important. Sometimes it's 40% important, sometimes it's 60% important. The efficacy varies. I would say that certainly in healthcare it's important because we don't want to spread the flu around.
Right.
But for the general public, most people benefit 40 to 60%, and especially those at risk. So those with underlying conditions, maybe asthma or things that could make a flu infection more severe, and those in the extremes of age, and the very young and the very old are most at risk, and so they should definitely get it, but all of us really should.
Got it. Dr. Patel, let's talk about sleep, right? Because if you're tired, your body's going to be tired. So how important is sleep and staying healthy?
I think it's very important, and the irony is when we're sick, we need even more sleep.
Right.
And there are a lot of different symptoms that are associated with some of these illnesses that can disrupt the sleep. But obviously the simple things like managing our stress, right? Eating a well-balanced diet, drinking plenty of fluids in the fall and winter when it's the dry season, and getting a good night's rest, both quality and quantity, are helpful in keeping that immune system in tip-top condition to fight these illnesses or recover from one.
Yeah. Well, how do we do that, though? We all have busy lives, right? We have work. Some people have to come home, cook, homework, do all of this other stuff. So how do we balance that?
Yeah, I think it should be a high priority, right? And I would argue that it might be more important than what we eat and even daily exercise. So it really shapes up our immune system, how we interact with people, our mood. And we know that from patients who suffer from insomnia and sleep apnea, two common sleep conditions.
Right. Now, in the wintertime, of course, a lot of us stay inside, right? So the air in the house may have some stuff floating around in it, right? So how important is air quality, especially in those winter months?
Yeah, so I think air quality is very important. In the hospital setting or in a practice setting, we oftentimes will use HEPA filters, right, to purify the air, so we're breathing in clean air with less pathogens like bacteria and viruses. But it's also environment at work. It's also important at work and at home. And of course, if you have illness, it's even more important, right, from a recovery standpoint or even a prevention standpoint. With that, humidification during those dry winter months is also very helpful. We know that our upper respiratory system and even our lower respiratory system and even our skin, right, is very happy when there's humidity and moisture.
Right, absolutely. Dr. Thierman, what are some of the red flags, like something like a cold or a flu getting worse and turning into pneumonia?
Sure. Really, when it becomes a systemic problem and you start to experience shortness of breath, chest pain we talked about, high fever that won't go away simply with some Tylenol or ibuprofen. And again, people who have underlying conditions, they can go south much more quickly than healthy individuals and children as well. We're very cautious of children with fevers that don't break for a few days or with underlying asthma.
Overall, during the winter, what are some of the things, because people don't want to get out and exercise, you know, it's like, oh, it's cold out, I don't want to do this. So what are some of the things people can do preventatively to keep themselves healthy?
Well, we talked about sleep, and that's probably the number one thing. I would argue that exercise it really is good for bolstering immunity, and so everyone should try. You can obviously exercise inside as well as outside. It's probably better even inside in the cold because then you don't have the cold, dry air in your lungs. And then nutrition is also an important part, making sure we eat healthy and a variety of nutrients, and so we don't have a deficit of any vitamins.
Okay. All right, doctors, thank you so much. Well, protecting yourself and your family from winter health risk is based on the actions and choices you make. Flu shots, washing your hands, good sleep, and healthy lifestyles are key, as well as knowing when it's time to visit your doctor. When we come back, Ruth Ann Norton of the Green and Healthy Home Initiative shares tips on home safety and efficiency for winter.
We're all just trying to keep things running for those who rely on us. That's why we don't have time to be sick with the flu.
We don't have time for delays.
Ready!
We don't have time for spills.
Next.
We don't have time for setbacks. Let's be real.
Getting the flu shot
Helps you fight the flu.
Get a flu shot for yourself and those around you too.
Where did the time go? Somehow I lost all those years. Where did the time go? I don't know how I got here. Or how did I get here?
You've done the hard part. You quit smoking. Now do the easy part and get scanned for lung cancer. If you smoked, you may still be at risk, but early detection could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Well, as the temperatures drop in the winter, our electric bills do the opposite. So does the chance for unhealthy air in our homes, leading to health problems. Ruth Ann Norton, President and CEO of Green and Healthy Homes Initiative, joins us to share how we can be more energy efficient and make a more green and healthier home. Ruth Ann, how are you?
Wonderful to be here. Great.
Thanks for joining us. I see we got a table full of props here.
Yeah, we sure do.
Why is now the time to start getting your home ready for the winter?
You know, you've got to do some things to prepare for the cold that could start to hit by mid-October even. And extreme heat and extreme cold, right, can have a lot of health impacts.
Right.
And as we start this, I want to just remind folks that we have a lot of programs that will help people who can't do this themselves. And that we have a lot of information on our website, which I hope we'll cover at the end here, but that will point people in how to do this.
Speaking of how to do this,
Yeah.
what are some of the stuff that families need here?
So as you're thinking about getting into fall, great time to check your filters on your systems, your heating and air conditioning systems, and making sure that your filters are clean and ready to go. And you want to get a level of 1600 or higher to make sure that you're also capturing particulate so that you can lower the incidence of asthma, which can be triggered by extreme cold and changes. You also want to make sure you are doing the right things to seal properly for weatherization. So we've got some sealing here, putting some rubber foam against the windows, or using caulk, or putting on door sweeps are very helpful. But also what people don't think about is their gutters and taking moisture away from the home. You don't want freezing to happen, cause greater problems. You don't want moisture coming in the home during this period of time. And the other things we are telling people to make sure, it's always a good time in the fall to check for your fire alarms, but also carbon monoxide.
Why is that so important? A lot of people don't realize.
Yeah,
why is that
so if you
important?
have a gas stove, gas water heaters, or gas heating system, there's a lot of emissions beyond carbon monoxide too, benzene, nitrous oxide, that are extremely harmful to health. But this will help you monitor the quality of your home and the air in your home, and making sure that you're using things that will help you look at it. And that also includes lighting. As the days get darker, right, you want to have good lighting, not only for security, but we know that good lighting prevents trips and falls, and is really important to the safety of the home.
Yeah. What else outside of the home besides the lighting, which you're right, prevents the trips and the falls? What else should people do?
You want to make sure that your foundations are well sealed, right? So taking a look, seeing if you have any moisture coming in the foundations. You want to look for things like leaky roofs. And if you can afford to do these things, these maintenance measures, you can go on our website at ghhi.org and get our checklist for the 10 elements of healthy housing to help you. If you cannot afford it, if you're older or you are of lower income or live in communities where resources are a little bit more strapped, we have a number of programs that will help fix roofs, foundations, air systems, even replace heating systems if need be.
Now, is that at cost, reduced cost?
Everything we do is free. You have to income qualify for it. And all of our work around this, around weatherizing homes, for example, and getting ready, is because we're wanting to enhance health, right? Health and affordability in housing, lower maintenance costs, and improve respiratory health, and improve your ability to sleep well through the night. All of those things are critically important.
Yeah, when I look at this, I don't think health, I think money. But you're right, like there's, you know, even this, right? You know, it says superior allergen. What are some other things people can do for the air quality in their home besides just the filter?
Yeah, you want to make sure you're using things like a HEPA vacuum, HEPA filtered vacuum, picking up particulate. You want to do wet cleaning and making sure that you're getting all of those elements that are necessary. But following those practices of good maintenance in your home, and definitely the air sealing, or if you have windows that really need replacement or repair, We have funds to help do that. The state also has programs for all income levels to do loans and grants on things like window replacement and home repair through the state of Maryland's work on healthy housing as well.
So let's transition to energy conservation then, because if you're doing these things, that should actually conserve energy, right?
100%. We know that better weatherization is going to help to lower those costs, right? We also want to make sure that people are paying attention. So if you can put in a smart thermostat, really helpful, because you can adjust that, you can make sure, and actually you sleep better at a little cooler temperatures and doing those sorts of things. But affordability is so key. The cost of electricity, the cost of gas and oil heating have all gone up. And so taking these measures, but even changing your filter can be a way of lowering your costs because you're more efficient. Making sure you're doing your dishwasher, running your dishwasher or your laundry at off hours are really important things. Also important for your health is making sure they're well ventilated and that you've cleaned those vents and checked those vents. And for your air vents, making sure you're dusting those off and not dosing yourself with things that could trigger asthma.
Yeah, so let's talk about some of the homes in Baltimore we know are very old. Some homes still have furnace heating. So what are some of the things people can do with the older homes that have the older heating units to make sure they're staying safe and being efficient?
Well, so we call that resistance electricity, right? And like the baseboard heaters and the like. What has been shown economically is that you may want to move to a heat pump. By moving to a heat pump, you're actually going to have lower cost and better health because you'll have a lower emission of anything in terms of particulate, even if you're moving from electric to electric. You can also use air filtration systems to clean the air and making sure those are HEPA filtered as well, really important. There is a cost that does come with that, of replacement of those filters. And you want to test those systems, all of your systems, early in October. Make sure they go on and off and that you've tested the efficiency of that working system. But making sure you do that good cleaning too. And I keep saying HEPA filter, but really important in lowering the dust that comes out of heating systems, and then that will improve the efficiency as well.
All right, Ruth Ann, thank you so much. We'll leave it right there. To learn more about green and healthy homes, visit ghhi.org. Up next, October is Fire Prevention Month. Chief Dixon of the Baltimore County Fire Department joins us to share how we can prevent fires and keep our families and our homes safe.
All right, I'm at the house, and I'm gonna head inside. Okay, come on, this door. I'm in the house.
What do you see?
Let me check the den. There's nothing in the den. Let me check the kitchen. There's no one downstairs, it looks like.
Wait, what was that?
I don't know. Let me head upstairs.
What do you see?
What the? Did you shut this bathroom door?
No.
Oh no.
What?
It's not here.
What do you mean?
The gun's not here.
What? Where is it?
Oh my God.
What's going on?
Cam.
Oh my God, what's going
Cameron, are you in there? Open the door. Cam, please, please, open the door, Cameron. Come on, Cam.
Well, during the winter months, heaters, holiday decorations, winter storms, and candles increase the risk of house fires. 1/2 of home fires occur in December and January and February. Chief Joseph Dixon of the Baltimore County Fire Department joins us to share what we need to know about fire safety and preventing those fires. Chief, how are you?
I'm good, sir. How are you today?
I am well. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your service. Let's talk fire prevention. What can families do to make sure they're not a victim of it?
Well, certainly, you seem to be well versed. You talked about the months I'm doing as we get later into the season, December, January, and February. As you mentioned, that's just typically most fatal time where we have these type of fires. And one way to prevent it is right now in the fall season, as we get ready to switch over, is whatever type of heating system you have, whether it be a furnace, whether it be your a fireplace, is you want to make sure you have those inspected. That means the chimney for the creosote, that nasty buildup inside there, your HVAC system, just make sure that it's serviced, especially if you have a service plan. But we want to make sure that we keep our neighbors safe.
What about the little things like candles? Because I'm notorious, I'm guilty of it. Like, I'll fall asleep with the candle lit and wake up like, oh my God, I left this candle. So something that small, though, can still be dangerous.
Oh, sure. You know, it's general safety, and most of it's common sense when you deal with candles. You know, having them on something that is, of course, a plate, or that they'll come in something that's protective. You don't want to sit them on a table and leave them. The big thing is leaving them unattended, because when you have fires that occur often, it's because someone falls asleep, which is one of the big things as we come up on Fire Prevention Month. One of the national themes is make sure you close before you doze, which again gives credence to the fact that when our neighbors, as we often refer to them, they fall asleep, that's when bad things can happen. So make sure that you stay aware.
I know the Christmas trees are about to go up.
Wow.
You know,
not quite, man. You get
well, some people, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because some people are already celebrating stuff. You know, people get creative with their lights, put a lot of lights on, want to have that visual overnight, look at my tree. But can that be something that could be detrimental to starting a house fire?
Sure. Well, there are two things there. Well, if we're getting into the Christmas season and we're talking about our trees, then we want to make sure that our trees are always hydrated. You know, so one of the biggest problems with the trees is that they may dry out. The other thing is that if there's the electrical component associated to that, we never want to have those overloaded. So we want most of the electrical equipment that we buy comes with some type of, whether it's underwriter's laboratory, some type of testing that you want to make sure that you follow. We always tell people to follow the manufacturer requirement, recommendation. So
the theme for Fire Prevention Week, lithium-ion battery safety.
Sure.
Why is that important?
Well, I tell you, I don't know if you've even been on a flight lately, and they tell you have to make them, because there've been so many issues with those batteries. And in the home, it's the same thing with people, you know, the kids putting their phones under their pillows. You have e-bikes in the homes. It's a lot of hazards. So we want people, again, it comes down to being aware, reading the directions, understanding what the manufacturers recommend for your safety.
And of course, smoke alarms are paramount, right?
Absolutely. You want to have your smoke alarms, carbon monoxide, because we want, certainly we're always going to be there if they need us, and we'll come if they need us, but we hope they don't need us, because when we show up, it's typically something bad. But we want people to practice good safety and to be safe.
And with the smoke alarms, why is it so important to make sure they're working properly? We see these memes and these videos of the choop, 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 that the battery's about to die. Why is it so important to make sure those are working?
Well, listen, it's so important because oftentimes, you know, sadly, that's your only time to be notified, and we want this to be if they're working properly, it's a system. They notify you, and hopefully you have an escape plan, and you're able to make it out safely. And that's important because it's tragic. One life is too many. And again, this is the time of the year where it occurs more. But we want to make sure that we want to do everything we can, and we appreciate this segment, that we can, again, keep our neighbors safe. And maybe this will be the year where we'll be at zero.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
That would be great. So unfortunately, another big killer is carbon monoxide. How important is it to know the signs of carbon monoxide, and what are some of the ways someone can be affected by it?
Well, yeah, carbon monoxide is it's often been referred to as a hidden killer, and that's another one of the reasons that we talked about getting your certain systems checked and serviced. And many a times when it starts happening, people don't notice because they like, why am I feeling this way? I'm getting tired, which now if you're getting tired, what are you going to do? You're going to go lay down. So we want to make sure that the important thing is to have a carbon monoxide detector, especially around that type of equipment, your HVAC system, and that's the biggest thing because I don't want you to depend on whether or not do I recognize it. We want you to have something that's going to alert you.
Right. What about even in the garage, right? Because people fall in this trap of, I'm going to go warm my car up.
Oh, wow.
And we know what the exhaust system is, right? So
generators, things of that nature, and you're right. They're all if they're producing any types of fumes, it could be something that could be detrimental to your health, and you certainly want to have those spaces ventilated properly. But that's again, we always go back to people will buy I have this new toy, this new thing, but they don't know how to use them safely. Make sure you understand the manufacturer recommendations.
Numbers-wise, do you have an idea of how many people are affected and unfortunately pass away from house fires every year?
Well, we believe that we've kept the number down in Baltimore County because one of the things that we do is prevention is very big. Community risk reduction, prevention, and then if we have an unfortunate event, we get out and do our community walks, and having the opportunity to speak here today is something else that's important to awareness is important. But over the course of the years, we brought it down, and certainly 3 a year is something when we talk about fatalities. So that's been about what we're averaging, but we want that's 3 too many. And we want to do better.
Yeah. Last question, Chief. For folks that can't afford to go to the Lowe's or the Home Depot to get these devices, how do they have access to them?
Yes, sir. BaltimoreCountyMD.gov, and they can go on, that's the website, and they can certainly find, it's /fire, find our page, and we will, if they don't have it, have access, we have programs, we'll make sure that we show up. And again, if you need us, call us, but we hope you don't need us.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right, Chief, we'll leave it right there.
Yes,
Chief
sir.
Dixon, thank you so much. And remember, when charging lithium batteries, there is a risk of fire. They also need to be disposed of properly. To find a recycling spot near you, visit calltorecycle.org. And to help your kids learn more about fire prevention, visit sparky.org and also sparkyschoolhouse.org. Thank you for joining us. Now it's time to make those connections and take actions to have a safe and healthy winter.